Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On the show this morning, Kyle Bauer visits with Harry Moser to talk about his cattle operation and his experience with the Kansas Livestock Association. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Next, Kyle Bauer talks with Brian Jennings, who's with the American Coalition for Ethanol, to talk about the future use of ethanol and the current setbacks. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Kyle Bauer and Harry Moser talk about the Kansas Livestock Association.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. You get a chance to visit with Harry Moser. He is the president-elect of KLA for 2020. Harry, let's start with talking about your operation, where it's located and what it looks like.
We are a purebred seed stock and commercial cow-calf operation right on the line of Marshall and Pottawatomie County. Have family involvement, and I've lived there for 20 plus years.
You talk about seed stock. Tell me about what breed that is.
We raise Sim Angus, Angus, and Simmental. I've had 27 production sales, and now moving into a private treaty, just slowing down just a little bit.
And you'll be president-elect in 2020. And talk about your involvement with KLA over the years.
Well, I was born and raised in North Dakota and belonged to the Stockmen's Association up there. We moved into Kansas in 1986. One of the first organizations I joined when we got here was Kansas Livestock Association. Barb mentioned earlier today that, when you first come, you kind of sit and watch and do this, and there was things I saw that I could do. I served on a membership committee and did a fair amount of recruiting. I was chairman of that committee. Moved on and served as chairman of stock growers, also vice chairman of resolutions. The leadership brought me in on some of that because some of that's appointed, but it's all stuff that is grassroots because we're all out in the country and we come together and make these resolutions.
One thing that seems to be unique for Kansas in the beef industry, or at least I think it's unique, is that every aspect of the beef industry is represented, whether it's cow-calf or seed stock or even to the packer level. It appears that KLA cares that everybody gets to make a little money.
Well, it's very important to our industry. And we are unique. If you go east or west or even north, there's no packing houses. Feedlots are somewhat limited because of environment or other issues. When you got the cow-calf guys, the stocker guys, the feedlot guys, and the packers, it's very unique. And when we're all profitable, the economy in Kansas is profitable.
What's also in this week meeting with KLA is that everybody's in the room and everybody's speaking their mind, and yet people seem to leave the room still friends.
Yeah, I think it's a very democratic way. We always tell people to come to the convention. That's when we set these resolutions. We had a couple new ones this year brought up to us that we developed and took through resolutions and passed today at our business meeting. I think it's a very good system.
You'll be chairman in 2020. It takes a lot of time and a lot of investment away from the farm for you. It appears your operation can stand that.
Yeah, I've got a son that is full-time back into the operation and can do anything and everything he can. And we've got some support help that I don't have to worry about home when I'm gone. They know how it needs to be done, and I love to be there, but I also realize that you have to dedicate some time to these kind of deals.
Visiting with Harry Moser, he is the president-elect of Kansas Livestock Association for 2020. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Doug Shoup joins us. He serves as the chairman of the Kansas Soybean Yield Contest. And Doug, another successful year for Kansas soybean producers, and you had a chance to honor them at the Kansas Soybean Expo.
Yep, it's always a fun time of year to look back on what the past growing season was and see all of these high-achieving growers that are really cranking out some of these high-yielding soybeans that we see across the state.
We have a lot of winners, and I understand the 100 bushel mark was passed once again this year.
We hit 100 bushels for 2 years in a row. Now we actually have set a new record for recorded soybean yield in Kansas and in the irrigated category. The overall new record for bushels of beans grown on a 5-acre patch is 104 bushels per acre, and that was actually done by Love Farms, and they're in Gray County in southwest Kansas. So a big congratulations to them, and just really excellent to see we're hitting this 100 bushel milestone back-to-back years. That was the overall state winner, and of course Love Farms won the overall irrigated category in the state as well. We like to honor our overall dryland winner because that's a pretty big feat to do that on natural rainfall. This year our dryland winner came from the northeast part of the state, and that was Matt Geiger of Brown County. He came in with an average yield of 94 bushels per acre, which is excellent considering the kind of year we had with some extended drought during the summer. We only had 29 entries this year, but we were able to give out over $8,000 worth of prize money. In the southeast part of the state, the Timmons brothers came in with an average yield of 79 bushels per acre for a dryland yield. That was kind of the high number that came out of the southeast part of the state. The overall high winner for the north central part of the state was Ryan Stewart. He had an overall yield of over 80 bushels per acre on dry land, which is spectacular considering some of the conditions they saw up there. Now, the other thing that we can't forget about is the value contest as well. We like to highlight the extra special quality that comes from the soybeans that we grow here in Kansas, and so we do that by calculating how much protein and how much oil comes in from a sample from an individual grower. The overall winner for the value contest was Cole McCauley of Doniphan County, and he had an overall premium of over $1 per bushel gain just based on his oil and protein coming from the northeast part of the state.
That is Doug Shoup, who serves as the chairman of the Kansas Soybean Yield and Value Contest, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Kyle Bauer and Brian Jennings.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil, and the decision continues improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about the ethanol industry with Kyle Bauer and Brian Jennings.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I'm visiting with the American Coalition for Ethanol. I'm visiting with Brian Jennings. Brian, there's a lot of news with ethanol almost daily right now.
There is. We've had some really good news recently, of course, with the president announcing that he's directing EPA to move forward with a rulemaking to allow E15 year-round. That's a big deal because right now, ethanol producers are hurting. We need more access to the market. We're producing significantly more ethanol than what we're allowed to use at home, and there are artificial constraints to the market right now. And so one of the biggest constraints is the Reid vapor pressure issue, is the limitation on E15 use in the summer months, the busiest season for driving, year-round. So we're working with the president and the administration. We need this RVP rulemaking to get done in time for the June 1st summer driving season.
And you've got issues with RINs, and you've got issues with the clean air, and it seems that really everything, ethanol answers all the questions very positively, but as you would understand, there's a lot of pushback from the oil industry against a lot of that, even though logic would say it shouldn't be.
Yeah, the advantages of ethanol today are incredible. You want to save money at the pump. Ethanol is very inexpensive right now, so ethanol blended fuel is going to cost consumers less than straight gasoline. You want to clean up tailpipe emissions and address greenhouse gases. Ethanol is a significantly better transportation fuel for reducing life cycle greenhouse gas emissions, for eliminating or cutting back on some of the toxic emissions that come out of the tailpipe of vehicles. However, we do know that oil companies are going to fight us tooth and nail to prevent any more ethanol access to the market. Oil companies left to their own devices don't want to let a competitor that costs less, that is better for the environment, to have greater access to that market. That's why they're fighting E15. That's why they're fighting higher ethanol blends. That's why they drag out all of this misinformation about ethanol. Food prices, the environment, it's going to damage your car. And so we're constantly battling not just countering the attacks by the oil companies, but we're also working our way through the regulatory system. EPA takes a long time to approve something like allowing E15 use year-round. This is a process that we'll have to follow very diligently, and so it requires political leadership. That's why we're grateful we have the president directing EPA to move forward. That's why we're grateful we have bipartisan support in Congress. That's why we're so grateful we have Sonny Perdue, our agriculture secretary, who is really helping keep EPA's feet to the fire when it comes to granting greater market access to ethanol.
But truly, those truths about ethanol have leaked out around the world. The opportunities for the rest of the world to want to buy ethanol have become very strong as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. While we have struggled a bit here at home to increase the use of ethanol, the rest of the world wants and needs our ethanol because they recognize it's got octane value. Its price point is attractive, so they're going to save money by blending more ethanol. They're going to reduce greenhouse gases by blending more ethanol. And so you have countries like Canada, a very strong customer of ours that continues to buy U.S. ethanol. Brazil, despite a tariff rate quota, is bringing more ethanol in. Mexico wants more of our ethanol. Japan wants more of our ethanol. And so we do have, thankfully, all of these opportunities around the world, and we're setting records in terms of ethanol volume.
We're visiting with Brian Jennings. He's with the American Coalition for Ethanol. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer and work with you.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Today on our Kansas Farm Bureau update, meet the Visser family, one of 10 families honored to be named a Kansas Farm Bureau Farm Family of the Year.
Justin and Valerie Visser, along with Justin's father, farm 1,200 acres of row crops in Riley County. The farm includes corn, wheat, soybeans, and grain sorghum, along with a small feedlot for cattle. In 2014, Valerie began a produce business and has since expanded the enterprise by selling beef and pork and starting a seasonal farm-to-table catering company. Justin and Valerie have been Farm Bureau members since they married in 2009. Valerie serves on the Riley County Farm Bureau Board as YF&R Chairwoman and participates in KFB's spokespeople and educators for agriculture in Kansas, or the Speak Team. In 2016, Justin and Valerie host summer and fall harvest feast events that celebrate area producers and encourage the community to meet their local farmers. The couple are active members of the Riley Methodist Church, the Riley County FFA alumni, and Blue Valley pork producers. Justin served on the Riley County Livestock Association board. Valerie volunteers with Riley Pride. Both Valerie and Justin feel that farmers, with the help of solid research, are the best qualified to improve soil and animal health and production. They appreciate Farm Bureau's role in creating policy that gives farmers the freedom to focus on being good stewards of the land.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Derek Sawyer, and I'm a fourth-generation Kansas farmer. I've known all my life I wanted to farm this land near McPherson, which was my grandfather's before me.
I'm Katie Sawyer, a journalist who never dreamed I'd live my life on the farm until I met Derek.
We've married our worlds to help educate consumers about the rural lifestyle and all that farmers do to provide safe and affordable food.
Watch our story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with the perturbed and anxious Duane Taves. Because you didn't get to fact or fiction me last week.
I know. I was so disappointed in my...
And all week you've just moped around.
Missed the opportunity.
So let's just do it now.
I enjoy so much when you lose.
I know you do.
Your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer. The crocus flower is responsible for our seasoning saffron. Fact or fiction?
All right. Saffron. You'd think saffron would come from a safflower, wouldn't you? I don't know my seasonings or my flowers. You said crocus?
Crocus.
That makes no sense. I'm going to go with fiction.
It's true.
I figured it would.
Got to admit, I cooked one, I think in my entire life, 50 plus years, I spent a fair number of days cooking in the kitchen. I think I've used saffron once.
What does it... what's it taste like? Is it bitter? Is it sweet?
I don't even know. I got to be honest. I don't use it often enough to know what it even was for. But I think it was in a one recipe at one point.
They use it a lot in Northern California.
Really?
In San Francisco.
Looky there.
It doesn't matter. I got it wrong anyway. You're not going to give me extra credit for that, are you?
No, but an E for effort.
Okay, E. There you go. That was me, old E. Kyle. You got your A's, the B's, C's, and I wasn't an F student.
Good.
Oh, E.
E. That's an E.
No, I was a pretty good student.
Why did they skip E?
I don't know.
You got A, B, C, D.
And it's not like anybody's going to take an E and change it to an F. I mean, you can take an F and change it to an A, but nobody's going to believe
Never
that.
did that in my family. They'd have known I was...
They'd have known. And you'd be in trouble for getting an F and lying.
Yeah.
In our family...
Covering it up.
Our family, as in my kids, the biggest offense you could ever make was lying.
Mm-hmm.
And early on, somewhere around third grade or so, all three of them
made that mistake.
Gave their try.
And run that one and see if it flies.
And all of them, they had to write, "I will not lie to my mother and father" 500 times. And their little hands got all cramped up. And so in this day and age, kids couldn't even write that much right. Their little hand got all cramped up. But anyway, I have a file on, you hear about people's stuff in their permanent file.
Yeah.
Well, I have a permanent file on all my kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the school may burn those files at
After
some point
10
or
years.
shred them, or whether they really had one or not.
I think I did.
You think you did? Well, you had a whole drawer.
Yeah, it was. I had my own file cabinet, maybe.
But no, I've kept it, and that little piece of work that they did
tucked away and saved for posterity's sake.
I mean, and it's not like their files aren't like scrapbook stuff. It's not like the first tooth or anything like that. Lisa's about all that.
The female side, the maternal side, took care of all that stuff.
Mine is like the picture of the first car they wrecked, and and things like that they don't know I have. Yeah, so anytime they want to start getting a little high and mighty with their kids, I can whip out their permanent file.
Remember the time that you did?
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.